All right, what's up? We are up the north end of the strip and we're going to take a walk down. I don't know where we're going to end up, but we're going to end up somewhere. So we are doing a staycation and we are actually staying over at Fontainebleau. Really nice room. We took some video when we got into the room, so we're gonna be posting that. But this is the iconic, the classic Circus. So we're gonna start walking south on the strip. We're gonna try to see how long it takes. Well, actually, we'll see how long it takes, actually. Probably walk all the way down to Bellagio from up here. So welcome in, everyone. Say hello, hit that thumbs up button. If you're just joining us, we just got on about 2 minutes ago. So we're gonna be heading down. Daniel, what's going on? Murakami, what's going on? So, yeah, Fontainebleau is a beautiful hotel. It's actually got a nice crowd inside there tonight. But it's so loud out front of it. They got some music blaring, so I was gonna start my live from out front, but it was way too loud. So I figured I'd cross over to Circus there, and we're gonna walk down, see what the strip looks like at, I don't know, 10 o'clock at night. I forgot my watch again, so, oh well. So there we got the Resorts World right in front of us. I'm gonna try to brighten this up a little bit here. Seems like it's a little dark. Uh, 10:30. It is kind of windy out tonight too up here on the strip, so we're gonna have some wind noise. Nothing I can do about that except end the live, but I'm not gonna do that, so. Tiger Lily, what's going on? Dave, what's going on, buddy? There goes a Zooks. Check it out. So who was on the other night on the Vertical Live? Does this video look better than the other night? Because the other night I did it on the YouTube app. Tonight I'm on the Prism Live app, trying to see if it's a better quality of video or not. I think already this looks better. So we've got Wynn and Encore, look relatively close right now, but they're still quite a bit away. It's really clear, looks better, but no gimbal. Hold on, I'm on the wrong setting maybe on the gimbal. There we go, does that look a little more steady? You only come to Vegas once a decade. When's your next time you're gonna be in Vegas? Yeah, I prefer horizontal streams also. That's better. But I wanted to test out these vertical live streams on YouTube. It seems like they're giving them a little bit of a push. So you're last here in 2023, so you won't be here until the 2030s. Seems like YouTube's trying to do like a vertical push. So I kind of wanted to just experiment a little bit with them. Vegas is for assholes. Oh, yeah, it is. It is. Seems like the verticals, though, are a little bit more shaky on YouTube with the gimbal. We're gonna try to hit Caesars. I think we hit Caesars last time for you. Yeah, it does get extremely hot in the summertime. It is a desert, very dry, no humidity. It's a dry heat. There's the entrance, one of the entrances for Resorts World right there. So this is gonna be a nice walk. We're gonna take you all the way down to the center strip from the north end of the strip. So we're just gonna use the Use2 timer that I've been on to kind of track how long it's taken. I like Excalibur better than the Flamingo myself. I'm not a huge fan of Flamingo. It's a decent property. My wife, Jay, she thinks Flamingo is one of the most overrated properties on the whole strip. Jay Taylor, what's going on, Tyler, what's going on? Yeah, this is kind of like a TikTok stream. I just wanted to, like I said, I've been testing out all the different options that YouTube has. So I wanted to test out like a late night vertical and see what it looked like over here. What looks demonic? You remember this when you was a bad person. I mean, Flamingo has a lot of history, right? And at one point, Flamingo used to really embrace the mobster history that it has. Now, it's kind of pushed it back. If I could market the Flamingo, I would have that totally done up like a you know, 1960s mobster hotel. You know, currently, I feel like there's no identity at the Flamingo. You know, when you go in and you check out the new hotel lobby that they just did, you know, it's kind of underwhelming. The places to eat in there are all kind of overpriced for such a budget hotel. I grabbed a cup of coffee, plain drip coffee in there one time, and it was like $9, you know. Yeah, this part of the strip really isn't busy because, I mean, you have, let me turn around here. You have Resorts World, and then you have Circus at Fontainebleau, and then it's a little bit more of about a 10 more minute walk up to Sahara. You know, this is more people are staying up this end that have, you know, want to check out the two new resorts out here, Resorts World and Fontainebleau. So you're gonna have more of that, and then you have just like people wandering up here. Now, if we go over and we were to go through Encore or Wynn, you would see Encore and Wynn is always pretty busy. They're not exactly streamer friendly in there, so we don't really walk. Can't really stream when you go through Wynn or Encore. So I stay out of places that I know are not very streamer friendly, not trying to get, you know, cause any issues for myself. But once we get down and we cross over by Venetian, that's when we're gonna start running into all the crowds, you know what I mean? Yeah, Wynn and Encore are very, very pricey. Super nice. Now, me and Jay, we're doing a staycation. We are staying at Fontainebleau, and the room is absolutely amazing. Everything is controlled by electronics, push button lights. You know, great view. We got a really nice view of the Strat and the mountains and stuff. There's the Deuce. All right, so welcome in. If you're just joining us, we are walking from basically Circus down to the center strip. We are across the street from Wynn and Encore right now. And we're gonna be heading up on the Fashion Show Mall at the end of this. This used to be, does anybody know what property used to be behind this decorative wall here? I've never taken a Maverick helicopter ride at night, so I can't tell you based on opinion, base my opinion of it on personal experience, but from what I've seen from videos, it looks like it's a really cool ride. Montecito, yeah. That was our favorite show. So behind this wall right here, well, you have the Trump building all the way back in the background there. But this area right here, this hotel that used to stand here, was the New Frontier. Now it's just a parking lot. No real plans on what to do with it. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Tillman Fertitta, who is buying Caesars may actually own this parking lot, but I might be wrong. I might be thinking of a different parking lot. But, and then right behind us where Resorts World is, that used to be the Stardust right there. Yeah, I mean, all the videos I've ever seen, and people that I do know that have taken the tour loved it. They said it was absolutely amazing to see the Vegas Strip, the flyover. I do know someone who had taken the Grand Canyon tour where they touched down in the Grand Canyon and all that with the Maverick helicopter. They said that was really cool. The camera is pointing forward, and I like to just kind of show everything that's around. One thing that I do not take very much to is people who just try to demand that I do things. There you go. Glitter and Coffee says the view was amazing. So, Glitter and Coffee's in our chat a lot. Great supporter of our channel. So I would really trust their opinion. All right. So Fashion Show Mall, I like the Fashion Show Mall going inside, but it closes early. I think it closes like 8 or 9 o'clock on the weeknights. So you don't really gonna be going shopping at 10, 11 o'clock in Vegas, right? Thank you, thank you. I like to pan. I like to give people, because listen, when people live stream and all they do is point the camera in front of them, that's not really how you walk, and that's not really how you walk around the Vegas Strip. Most of the time when you're walking around on the Vegas Strip, you're like eyeballing everything, looking across the street, taking pictures, doing all that stuff. So I like to pan the camera a lot, you know, give you guys multiple different views. What's the most I've ever won? On a slot machine, just under a hand pay. It was like 1,100 bucks. I don't gamble that often. I did hit for like 200 earlier tonight. After me and Jay went out, we went to Peppermill for a happy hour. We got back. I sat down in the machine for about 20 minutes, got about 200 out of it, and went back up to the room. And then I took like a 2.5, almost 3 hour nap. No, I don't think they have replaced Emmett's yet. But they need to do something to get people up around this area more. They need to like advertise a little better. I came in second on like a $40 buy-in in a poker tournament about 20 years ago, and I think that netted me around like 2,500. That's the most I've ever won gambling, but I'm not really a huge gambler. Especially when you live in Vegas. I think people that live in Vegas gamble a little bit less. I mean, we see some of the worst of people when they're gambling. So I love these steps. Let's see if we can get these steps. So these steps, if you can see them a little better, let me zoom a little bit. You got to be standing a little bit further back. But that's like a desert scape painted onto the steps. You can see the cactus, a little bit of sunset, and some flowers over here on the left side of the steps. So, but like when it has better lighting, they should really have this lit up so that you can see the steps that they painted on there. So, do we cross here and go over by Wynn, or do we stay on this side and cross more at by Venetian and TI? I think we're gonna cross over by Venetian and TI because you know what? We'll go this way. I changed my mind. We're gonna cross over here. I'm gonna show you guys where a lot of people go and take their pictures of the Sphere, right? I said the Sphere one time in a video, and like people went crazy about it because its name is just Sphere, it's not the Sphere, whatever. Funsky, what's going on, buddy? I was saying earlier when I was walking past that, you know, Wynn's not very streamer friendly, the Wynn and Encore properties. So a lot of times, like, even when you're outside, security will kind of follow you around. So I try not to really go inside Wynn and Encore, especially if I'm live streaming. No, I don't drink any night. I don't drink. I drink coffee. That is my vice. So they're cleaning the sidewalk here. I drink, so at Peppermill, we went to Peppermill, and they have Athletic Brewing Company, which is a non-alcoholic. They had the, I don't know, it's an IPA. It's actually pretty good. Yeah, no, that's not true either, buddy. If you've ever met me in real life, you would see that that would not even be a possibility. I'm like kind of like a sloth. I'm kind of just very chill and relaxed. But you can keep up with like the kind of one of trolly comments. Nah, he's probably just trolling. You get a lot of like dopes around, you know what I mean? So who remembers that like really cool fountain show that Wynn had out here? I kind of missed that. I saw them doing some work on it a couple years ago. I guess they were dismantling it because it never came back. You know, I really like, I like those old videos of Steve Wynn, like, and when they interview him, that guy was sharp as a tack, man. He really knew this business and how to get people to spend their money in Vegas. He knew how to give the tourists what they really wanted. You know, he was no different than like today's corporations, right? He kind of started the whole corporate thing out here. You know, the whole shows and entertainment and things like that were more important than just gambling, right? When he built the Mirage, you know, he had the volcano outside. He gave people free entertainment. You know, he had that big aquarium on the inside behind the check-in desk at at the Mirage. And, you know, he knew like people would come for those shows. Siegfried and Roy, you know, the Mirage was like kind of an expensive hotel when it first opened. It was $100 a night. Back then, $100 a night was, that was a lot of money, you know? So he kind of changed like Vegas when he built the Mirage. And Sheldon Adelson really banked on conventions when he built the Palazzo and the Venetian. So people come up here a lot and they take their pictures of Sphere. They stand here, they take it through the glass, you know. Now, from right here where we're standing, it's only about a 10-minute walk to the Sphere. If you wanted to like walk down and get some good pictures, not from a pedestrian pass. Now, I would recommend walking straight down Sands Ave at the bottom of the escalator here. You can't get through the walkway, the indoor walkway at night unless there's a show going on. So, going to the Orleans tonight, no, that's a little bit of a far walk. That's a far walk from the Strip. That's probably what, about like 2 miles, 3 miles west of the Strip. I have not heard that rumor. Yeah, it's a tough walk all the way down Tropicana to the Orleans. Like, they're doing a lot of construction out there. Some of the sidewalks are torn up. Definitely not really walkable, I don't think. All right, so we've been walking for about 27 minutes. So it's almost a half an hour from outside of Circus to, I guess, getting inside the Grand Canal Shops Palazzo side. It's the Rocky Horror Picture Show is going to be coming to Sphere. I mean, I know that movie has a huge cult following, but I just don't get it. I could think of some better movies. I would say Jurassic Park would be an awesome movie to see at Sphere. I don't know, what are some movies you think, if you've been to Sphere and experienced it, you know what I'm talking about. There's certain movies that would just totally freak you out. So I think Jurassic Park, they could do so much with Jurassic Park at Sphere. I don't know, what are some movies you guys think? Now, for a while, some people thought it was gonna be Harry Potter or Star Wars. You know, both of them I think would have been better choices than the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which I've probably seen it 2 or 3 times, like throughout my 50 years, but I'm not a huge fan of it. I mean, it's a decent movie. I don't see the cult status of it. Ooh, Avatar would be cool. Danny, what's going on, buddy? Rocky, what's going on? Welcome in. You guys, don't forget to smash that thumbs up button there. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I was planning on doing an early morning live stream tomorrow since I'm staying up here on the strip. But my son's car is getting delivered, and so I kind of gotta get home and help him out, and then I'm coming back up the strip because we're staying up here again tomorrow night. So that's kind of why I'm out so late tonight. Dark Side of the Rainbow. What was Dark Side of the Rainbow? Was that Maleficent or whatever it was? You guys are trying to get me all tongue-tied here. You know I can't speak as it is. Well, Reverend Rob, what's going on, buddy? Carvana, what, yeah. I love the goofy comments that get left in the live streams. That's what makes live streaming so good, is like some of the weird comments that people leave, just random things like Carvana, or that other guy that was trying to be trolly earlier and whatever he was saying. Nelson, thank you, buddy. Welcome in. So, Treasure Island. I used to love Treasure Island. Treasure Island was one of my favorite properties on the strip for a long time because of the pirate show. Now, when I lived out here in '97, where we crossed over, that street we crossed over at the other side of the Palazzo there, Sands Ave, I lived all the way down where Sands Ave turns into Twain, East Twain. So I lived down at Twain and Swenson at the Apple Apartments, and I used to walk up to the strip every night. Jay worked up here at GameWorks. You guys remember, like they had the Sega GameWorks up here on the strip. I think Burlington's in that spot now, across from New York, New York. And so I used to come up here and pick her up when she was done her shift, because we didn't drive back then. We just kind of like walked our, everything we needed was right in the neighborhood by our house. So, you know, and the strip was only a little over a mile of a walk. Marshalls, that's what it is. I always mess that up, what it is, whether it's the Marshalls, the Burlington, the Ross. And that just cracks me up too, that there's so many Rosses on the strip. There's like 3 Rosses on the Las Vegas strip. There's one right across from Resorts World. There's one right by Aria there, and then the one down by New York, New York, right? Crazy. Yeah, it is a little bit of a late night walk for me, Rob. But you know what? We went out, we went to Peppermill, had happy hour, came back, I did a little gambling at Fontainebleau, and then I took a nap. So I figured, you know what, I'm kind of wide awake. I didn't want to go downstairs and put all the money I just won in the machine back, all 200 of it. I didn't want to do that tonight. So I decided to come out for a walk. Oh, did John ask who owned TI? I missed that one. Sorry about that, but that's the nice thing about our chat here, right? Murakami, the Reverend Rob, we have a lot of great mods and a lot of people in here like Funsky and Glitter and Coffee. They know a lot about Vegas. So if I miss a question, a lot of times they'll give you guys the answers. And I think that's a great thing in a chat, is when people start chatting amongst themselves. You know, yeah, you're up kind of late to think about that too, Rob. It's got to be like 2 in the morning back there. Is Ross, yeah, Ross is really like a hit or miss type place. You can find nice stuff in there, but like no two Rosses are the same. So if you're like looking for something specific, you could go to like 5 different Rosses before you find it. So, all right, I blew my eardrum out right as I was walking past. So we'll have to come by here during the day. You can see some of the blue glass is being installed over there at the Hard Rock. That's like a very touchy subject, man. People, you post a video about the Hard Rock on social media and you get so many people that hate it, absolutely hate it, and so many people that are super excited for it. You know, unfortunately, I wish personally they would have been able to incorporate the volcano. I thought the volcano could go with the Hard Rock style, but apparently they didn't, so they got rid of that, and now the Hard Rock actually pretty much sits right where the volcano was. If you look at an overhead view, like you'll see that is like kind of exactly the spot that the volcano used to sit. So I guess to build the giant guitar, they needed to take the volcano out. Yes, Murakami knows pretty much everything about Vegas. My chat's like doing that thing where it stops and doesn't scroll for about 5, 6 comments. So I'm not ignoring the comments. It's just hard. It's not keeping up with it. I think it's going to look awesome. I'm excited for it. The Hard Rock, the original Hard Rock where Virgin is, that place had so much Vegas history for me and Jay. We got engaged there. That's like one of the first hotels that was the first hotel I stayed at ever in Las Vegas, was the original Hard Rock. And I mean, we would go there 2 or 3 times a year, and maybe one other time, a different spot when we didn't live out here between like the late, so we lived in here 97, 98, and then we would just come back quite often after we moved back east. What's the temp? I'm not sure what the temp is. So we're standing directly across from the Hard Rock here. 101, Murakami says 101. Yeah, see, when I'm live streaming, I don't really have access to be checking the temperature on the internet, but usually people that are watching do have access to the internet, so questions like what's the temperature could easily be Googled. Dashin, good morning from Kansas City. Welcome in. So here is Casino Royale. I like Casino Royale. That's very old school Vegas, right? When it's still old in there, and smells like cigarettes and desperation. But yeah, I think last week it was 1010. I think it's going to be going up to like 1010 later this weekend too. So they got, where is it at? Holy shit, the freaking foot-long hot dog went up to $4.99 now. Wasn't that just $3.99? $5 for the hot dog in here. That's insane. But they still got the $3 beers. Straight up on main.
$20 in free slot play.
Dang, I can't believe that. $4.99. It was just like $2.99 not that long ago. So yeah, so you have to walk from in front of the Hard Rock here. You can see they have the construction wall. That runs all the way from right here at Caesar's Forum Shops all the way back to where the other pull-in driveway was. So that whole sidewalk shut down for the construction. So you have to kind of cross over here to the east side of the strip and walk the east side of the strip. So yeah, the beer's getting cheaper and the food prices keep going up. I mean, I would never ever pay $5.99 or $4.99 for a hot dog. I don't even really like hot dogs, so definitely not on my my to buy list. Welcome in from Russia. So outside of Harrah's, now we just posted a video. Me and Jay said some overrated hotels, right, on the Vegas Strip. I think Harrah's and the Link are two overrated hotels that a lot of people mention a lot because they're good budget hotels, right? But even as a budget hotel, I find them to be overrated because there's nothing budget inside of them. The rooms are cheap, but if you're trying to save money and you think you're gonna save money at Harrah's or Link, then you're not, because the food courts are expensive, the restaurants in there are all expensive, so you're losing that budget pricing because there's nothing cheap in there. And there's nothing, like there's the Link Promenade, which is nice. Excuse me. But if I'm going to pay, I would pay a little bit extra and go down the south end of the strip maybe to like New York, or even Luxor. Luxor is one of my favorite spots. I really do. I love the Luxor. That's like
Jensen Beer.
I love I love the old pyramid rooms. So yeah, Casino Royale doesn't charge a resort fee, and that is that's a Best Western hotel actually. There's like off-strip properties that don't charge, but yeah, it's most of them do charge a resort fee, and you know, resort fees aren't something that are only in Vegas. Other cities do charge resort fees. They just don't call them resort fees. They call it something else. So, you know, there's always some kind of hotel occupancy tax or some sort of, you know, amenities fee or something. So if you look at your folio when you check out of a hotel, I'm sure in Miami or LA or some other vacation city, you're gonna see some sort of resort fee. Same thing with parking, right? Parking, paying for parking. I know Vegas traditionally, you never paid for parking. All the way up until 2016, you did not pay for parking in Las Vegas. 2016, MGM decided that they were going to charge for parking. So they started charging for parking. Caesars held off for a year, right? Everyone thought, yeah, Caesars gets it, right? No, Caesars was seeing what the market did to MGM. And when the market didn't totally abandon MGM and people went to MGM and paid that parking fee, a year later, Caesars started charging parking fees. So if you go anywhere else, so we just booked a hotel in Anaheim. We're going to some baseball games in Anaheim, I think in September or August. And we are paying $35 a night to park at a hotel in Anaheim. Why does my chat keep going off? Hold on, I gotta do something about this here. How did I fix this the last time this happened with the chat? I think I have to turn the chat view off. So this is the Link Promenade. We're gonna wander around in here for a minute. I think maybe I'll get myself a milkshake. I gotta pull this over. Let me see. Hide the chat. Show the chat. I think last time I had this issue with the chat not staying caught up with what you guys were typing. That's why I'm not answering all your questions. It's getting to, what's that? There we go. We got some muscles there. There you go, ladies. So yeah, so parking, you know, that's not like, that's not exclusive to Las Vegas either, right? They look like they're cleaning up in there. I'm not gonna ask them to make a milkshake. I'll wait till we get down to CVS or something and I'll do like I'll just get some water or something like that at CVS. I hate being like that guy. Like, oh yeah, I know you're just cleaned up, but could you make me a milkshake and dirty up all your equipment? So, we'll hit Sweet Sin tomorrow. That'll be a definite. So yeah, so it's gonna cost us $35 to park per night at a hotel in Anaheim. So parking, you pay for parking all over the place, no matter where you go. Now, someone told me, I haven't been to Disney in I don't know how many years, 20 years or so, but I never drove to Disney. But someone told me that if you drive to Disney and you have tickets to the theme park, you still have to pay for parking when you go to Disney. So people, you know, complain about the parking fees out here, but, you know, it sucks, and it especially is going to have like some pushback from the locals, because for 3 hours, there's not much you can do. You can't go to a show, dinner, drinks in 3 hours at a Vegas casino, and you really don't want to pay an extra $20 to park, right? So if you're not like a consistent player at MGM or Caesars, you know, you're not going to get the free parking upgrades that, you know, different statuses in the players' cards get you. So, John, you have a great one, man. Reverend Rob, you're going back to sleep too. You have a good night. I know it's late on the East Coast for y'all. So, you know, I don't think they should charge for parking personally, but I understand why they do. Some of these properties generate around $100 million a year in parking fees, right? Now, some of these properties pay rent to Vici of close to $90 million a year or so. So some of the parking fees actually pay for their, insane property lease backs that they did. So they're not going to really get rid of it. Now, I'm anxious to see what's going to happen when Tillman Fertitta takes over Caesars, if he does, and if he is going to do anything about parking. Now, MGM has some kind of summer special going for locals, where if you spend $75 on qualifying purchases at Park MGM, they'll give you, they'll validate your parking for you. So Favorite Bistro is closed. So what's it, around 11 o'clock? So a lot of places start to close at like 11 o'clock in Vegas now. So we're gonna actually turn around because I wanna at least get over and get a fountain show in or something like that. And the fountain shows end at midnight. So, yeah, parking fees are dumb, but coming from a city like Philadelphia, where if you went to Center City, Philadelphia to go out for a night, dinner, shows, or just go downtown to go out clubbing on a Friday or Saturday night, you were paying $25 in the early 2000s for the night, right? To park there for the night. If you worked in Center City, you had to pay for parking every single day. You know what I mean? So the whole idea that you're going somewhere and don't have to pay for parking sometimes gets lost on me, that people, and then I remember when you didn't pay for things in Vegas, right? And how frustrating it can be. So, I would like to see them roll back the parking, get rid of it, make it easier to obtain the free parking. Now, for the summertime, I don't know how long they're going to keep it, but Fontainebleau has free parking for locals and people who have their card, their player's card, you get free parking. So it's that simple. You can just go in Fontainebleau and get a player's card and you got free parking. I mean, other casinos should follow suit with that, right? All the station casinos, the local casinos, they all have free parking, and they are like super, super packed when you go to those. I was just down by Rampart the other day, and there were so many cars turning into, not Rampart, well, I was by Rampart too, which is now the resort at Summerlin. But Red Rock, that's always packed. That's actually probably my favorite off-strip casino is Red Rock. No, I think it's free parking for a win. The employees on the strip, I don't know of any property that charges on the strip to park. Downtown, they charge their employees to park. I would not work at a casino that charged me to park there. Now, the Wynn employee parking lot is kind of really far from the actual Wynn. Now, there's a parking structure right behind the Sphere, and that is the Wynn employee parking lot. So they gotta walk basically from like Venetian all the way to Wynn for parking to go to work. So just imagine running a couple minutes late and now you gotta walk. My work, and I don't say where I work, but my work has a pretty long walk from our employee parking garage to where we have to clock in. So we are right outside where Margaritaville used to be. It's gonna be Luke's Combs, Category 10, another country bar out here, going to the way of Nashville, Las Vegas is, right? With all the country bars. I don't know. I didn't realize there was that much of a market for country music. That you have Old Reg, Jason Aldean's, Stoney's, Gillies. There's like 5, 6 like huge country bars out here. Funsky, yes, I'll be on tomorrow. Tomorrow probably earlier than we're on tonight. So you have a good night, man. I'll see you tomorrow. Let's see. I wonder if there's any Vegas resort that was sold out, not a single vacant room. You honestly doubt it. Well, I can tell you for a fact that it does occasionally happen where every available room that is available for rent gets rented out. 100% occupancy does not mean that every single room in the hotel is occupiable, right? So let's just say Venetian, which has like 7,100 rooms, says they're at 100% occupancy, right? But they took 500 rooms out. They took 3 floors out of service to upgrade them, right? So you only have now, 6,800 rooms that are rentable, right? And every single one is rented, then that's 100% occupancy. The occupancy rate doesn't go upon how many rooms the casino has in total. It goes upon how many rooms they have available for rent at that particular time. So, if they had all, say, 3,000 rooms available for rent and they were all rented, I could see that actually happening on a 4th of July or like around like New Year's. Because I know that my hotel recently was at like 98, 99%. And we didn't have any rooms that were out of service for renovations or things like that. So we were almost at a true 100%. Durango, yeah, that was, when I said Rampart, that's what I meant to say was Durango. But yeah, I did see that. That's a huge construction site right there, Murakami. Whatever that country bar is. I'm not even sure what it is, but that's gonna be humongous. So yeah, so when you see that it says that a hotel is sold out, you never really know if they're talking about truly sold out or sold out with the available rooms that they have. So yeah, casino math, hotel math, the whole industry, hospitality math is very convoluted, very hard. If you're not really an insider, you don't really know what's going on. So let's just take a little walk. I need some air conditioning. I'm gonna cut through the front of Vanderpump here. Let's check out the Vanderpump car. I thought that this was pretty cool. This is an old English taxi. So Vanderpump really didn't change that much, except for the colors from the Cromwell. So the vibe is probably not as, the vibe has feminized a little bit. I always thought that the Cromwell was a very masculine type of hotel. Everything, the scent, the color schemes. Yeah, Lisa Vanderpump partnered up with Caesars for the Vanderpump. So they rebranded the Cromwell into the Vanderpump. Yeah, so it's about 2 months. Yeah, it's maybe going on 3 months old. You know, I did a walkthrough in there several times during the construction, and then after it opened, there was so many videos about it opening. You know, yeah, it's full. Huh? Yeah, it's right there. It's right behind the iPhone. Huh? Look at it a little better. Okay, I'm trying. Huh? Yeah. Vegas can't handle her. She'll be passed out on the sidewalk soon. Her boyfriend's like shaking his head, looking at me like, sorry, dude. So, here's Old Red. So Old Red, right next door we got Bottled Blonde. Bottled Blonde has like a window stage right here. When they have bands playing, you can hear them. Old Red usually is country. Doesn't sound too country tonight. But we're gonna head over and we're gonna go try to walk past the Bellagio. What time is it? We're not gonna make it over there for the fountain show. So we can walk on this side of the street anyway. Maybe I'll stop in CVS and get a drink. Let's go get something to drink in CVS. I'm gonna do some coconut water tonight. Oh wow, they got rid of the self-checkout in here too. That's a smart move. I wonder how many people just pretended they were self-checking out. It's good to see because now that just means there's more people employed here. Bill, what's going on, buddy? I do not know who owns Bottled Blonde. Hello. We need the little lights like Walgreens have.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I can't yell. So it's the best thing I got. It's gonna be $7.50 cash or card.
Card.
Did you want a bag for this?
No, I'll throw them in my backpack.
$1 one is
I want to try it so bad.
Thank you.
Good.
All right.
Right, there you go.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
You too. All right, there we go. Go set you guys down for a second so I can throw this stuff in my backpack. All right, let's get back to our walk. You know, I used to hate coconut water, but ever since I've been like living out here, I tried it again and I kind of like it now. Try to get you a better view so we can see across the street. Danny, can you hear it from your apartment there or your condo at Beer Towers? Yeah, I didn't know if the sound would carry that far down. Well, you're pretty high up in the tower, so I thought maybe. Miguel, you can drink alcohol on the strip as long as it's not in a glass container.
I had to give a moment. I had to give you a moment.
So, I don't know. I mean, tell me you've never been to Vegas without telling me you've never been to Vegas. Yeah, that's true. You're on the other side of the building. I didn't think that part through that well. You know, the other night when we were talking about the Veer Towers, and I was saying that I would want like a northwest condo, and then I started thinking about it. I think I would really want a south-facing condo, because I think they probably I think you might get a better view facing south, maybe. I don't know, because you have the Waldorf right there, so that's blocking somewhat of the view. But then on the north, I guess you have Cosmo kind of blocking some of the view. I don't know, I'd really have to be up in there and check out both sides to decide. I don't know, what do you think? Are we gonna go in front of the fountains? Yeah, I'm making my way there. We'll get there eventually, I think. If we don't, there's always tomorrow. Yeah, I'm gonna stop right here. That little white dot in the center of the screen, that is the moon. Down to the bottom there, I'll zoom in a little bit. I don't know how good my phone's gonna look, but that is the moon. We get some incredible moons. Desert, man, you can get some fantastic shots of the moon in the middle of the night out in the desert. My son was really into like astrophotography for a while. Has a super nice camera, and we used to go out into the desert and just take pictures and try to set it up to catch the galaxy, the Milky Way and stuff. What do you mean by don't do it corner? What, over by the fountains? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, the mist machines were blowing at night. I mean, I just figured that people just would know that, like, you know, Vegas is in the desert, so it's going to be hot, you know? I don't think I'd have to. And a lot of people also, you know, they check the forecast before they travel, right? Cal Chase, what's going on? Oh, yeah, people just, yeah. People do that at all the intersections here. Just, you know, especially, I think it's a little bit worse over here, right across the street, where those people are standing right across the street here. That's just a tiny little island. So you got cars turning out of the Bellagio. You got cars on this side coming out of Bellagio. And then you got the cars that are turning in. So right here, people just start walking. And if you watch a lot of live streams or you've been in Vegas, you see, like, you know, these people are just gonna get the head start across, not realizing that these cars now have a green light. So it's best to wait until you got the signal to cross. Aria is an MGM property. MGM and Marriott have a partnership. So, and then you got these people that are just walking in front of the cars that are trying to turn. So, this whole area right here would be better served if they just put in a couple more pedestrian overpasses. So now we're gonna have people just crossing, oh geez. So yeah, so every on-street, street level crossing out here is like insanity. Now, I don't know whoever came to Vegas back in the day when before they had all the pedestrian overpasses and you had to wait at every street light. It was insane. So now you got these cars that want to come off the strip. They're supposed to stop. But a lot of times, if the crowds are light, they just kind of inch their way through when the crowd starts getting light to go up there. Fonda, what's going on? Yeah, they put the crossing guards outside of Bellagio for special events a lot of times. You know, or if somebody gets hit by a car, a lot of times they switch, they'll put the crossing guards out. It is a shit show, Steps. How you doing? Haven't seen you for a while. So we're outside of Bellagio. We'll probably catch ourselves a show here in a minute.
No estuve y todo quería darle para que buscarle justificación.
I don't know what Clark County schools have to do with the strip being busy, because school-age kids ain't hanging out on the strip, man. And you know, locals really don't hang out up on the strip either, right? The majority of people I work with, if they're not at work, they won't go to the strip. They don't come here for shows. They don't come here for dinner. When family comes to town, they hate having to take somebody up to the strip. You know, it's crazy. I mean, I love being up on the strip. You still get big groups of people out here. They just... I mean, I think people don't really understand this whole Vegas is dead thing, right? Like, at its peak, Vegas had what, like 42 million? Something like that, right? 42, 44 million, whatever it was, right? Like back in 2016, 17, 18. You know, like we've only dropped since the pandemic. Like last year, we had what, 38 and a half? I mean, if it was 42, you're looking at 3 million less people than it was at its peak, you know? It's not like, uh-oh. Oh, I thought that guy was getting ready to jump in. I mean, the good old days of the 90s, right? And I'm not trying to be argumentative here, but the good old days of the 90s, the tourism numbers were down in the, you know, lower 30s, upper 20s as far as the amount of tourists that were here. So there was actually a whole lot less people here in the 90s than there were last year.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again, with just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to London. There's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and sing. That I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the
A lot of thirsty people right now.
Yeah, right. All right. So that was a good one. I don't know. Do you guys want to go inside? I might just start heading back up north to the strip. I'm starting to get tired again. I got to walk all the way back up. Yeah, I mean, look, I understand, you know, back in the 90s, early 2000s, and, you know, you're saying that the Asians made up for the spending. I mean, if it was 10 million less people that were here, I don't think they were making up that much of the spending. I mean, the casinos are making money. You know what I mean? Everybody's making money out here. There's different streams of revenue. I mean, they made a lot of money on gaming revenue this year already. I forget the number off the top of my head, but they're definitely not hurting. People are spending money. People are buying. You know, it's becoming more of a sports mecca, Vegas now. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm gonna head up through here for a second. Take my time getting to the Caesars crossover. Well, I live here, and I normally don't. Are these people like gonna walk, or now they're gonna walk? Jesus Christ! You know what? This is ridiculous. People have no freaking clue how to get through these doors, right? It's like you had one group that was standing there, and then everybody just comes from just starts swarming around, right? The Bellagio doors, I just wish they just had like an open entrance. It would make it so much easier. So, I don't know, but there's been, we have quite a few people that watch us and come here from Canada. So, the Canadian dip in tourism is real, but it's not as drastic as people want it to be, right? I mean, here's what I think. I think that the 38, 39 million, 40 million people is going to be the new Vegas tourism number for the foreseeable future. You know, and that doesn't mean Vegas is dead. It just kind of means the market corrected itself, right? That they came out in 2024, you know, because everybody was like stir crazy from being in the house. So I think we saw like a major influx in 24, and then people started to realize that, you know, the economy wasn't as good as they thought it was. Their job wasn't as secure as they thought it was. So people started to opting out of like trips to Vegas and stuff like that and going closer to home. Casinos are more localized now. So if you have a gambling bug, you can drive down the street to a casino, right? You don't have to come to Vegas anymore. So people are coming to Vegas now for experiences, you know, concerts, residencies, sporting events, things of that nature, right? It's not just about gambling anymore. So we're seeing a shift in the type of tourist and what they're coming here for. So that's one thing, you know. I think it's actually pretty nice out tonight. I'm a Vegas local myself too. I mean, I'm not born and raised here, you know. I know a lot of people think that, but you know, I think I've been living here long enough throughout the years. But Peter, in the 1990s, MGM had a theme park. Vegas tried to gear itself as a family place in the 90s. It didn't really succeed, right? But like, I don't think it's wild. I think kids have been coming to Vegas for a long time. And Vegas tried to accommodate that type of traveler, and it just didn't take off, right? You know, they closed the theme park in the early 2000s, but Excalibur, I mean, you have a big giant castle, you know, and they had like huge arcades. Every casino had arcades at one point, right? Now you have an arcade at New York, Excalibur, Horseshoe, of course, Circus. There's only like 4 arcades on the Strip. So, I mean, Vegas can be very family friendly if you do it the right way. Steve Wynn, he tried that whole no baby carriages and things like that, no strollers, until some of the rich people that wanted to bring their kids were like, yo, Steve. And he was like, yeah, you know, you're right. So, This is Caesars. Yeah, Caesars. It's a huge property. A lot of people don't like Caesars because it's real easy to get lost in there. I don't, it seems like every single hallway brings you back out to the casino floor for some reason, right? I mean, I like Caesars. Now, the interesting about Caesars is it's plural because everyone was Caesars at Caesars, right? It wasn't all about just one person. They wanted everyone to feel like the emperor at Caesars, right? Which I thought was really cool. And it's just not one theme, right? It's not just like, there's some Greek, there's some Roman, you know, it was pretty cool. I miss the actual centurions that they had walking around and the Cleopatras or whatever they were, the girls, the Caesar's girls that used to walk around. Remember they had like the gladiators, and that was always like really cool. That was way back. I forget when they got rid of that. Now, I do love the outside of the Flamingo. I do love that it's still the neon lights, it's not LED strips and all that, right? I'll show you guys one of my favorite spots when I'm just kind of chilling up on the strip. Sometimes after I end the live stream, I'll just chill out for a little bit. But Caesars, I mean, Flamingo itself, I think is a little bit overhyped. So many people love it. It's cheap. It's a great location. But like I was saying earlier on the live stream, you know, all the restaurants in there are pretty pricey. Their little food court that they have as you walk out towards the back. Like I went to that little coffee shop in there and it was like $9 for like a regular drip coffee. No flavors, no nothing. It was just drip coffee and it was like $9. I was like, that's ridiculous, right? So you lose the value of it being a budget strip place when you start trying to find cheap places to eat in there, you know? So I think somebody's at my spot. Yeah, somebody's at my spot. So right here at the middle fountain here, the center fountain, as you walk up, there's a bench that you can sit at. You can see right there. That's just like an awesome spot to chill. Yeah, they got rid of all the moving walkways, which I think is like absolutely like insane. The moving walkways, the only moving walkways that I'm aware of in Vegas anymore are the moving walkways that get you from Signature to MGM Grand and from Luxor over to Excalibur. There's still one set. Remember, there used to be like 3 or 4 different moving walkway areas when you walked from Luxor to Excalibur? Well, now there's only the one that takes you down the ramp down into the Luxor or out of the Luxor. This is another great view. Great spot to go and get some pictures. Yeah, well, the Venetian walkways are kind of more like the, I don't think they're really like people movers like if we're talking about. You know what? There are people movers at Venetian when you're walking over to Sphere, but they're always out of order. But the exterior walkways that go parallel with the strip there at Venetian, I don't really know if I count them as people movers. They're more of like archway. They go over them archways and stuff. But I don't know. Maybe we can count them as that. So this is the Omnia Day and Nightclub, right? If you come by here during the day, it is so loud on this stretch of the strip. I kind of don't like that the day club is right on the strip, like 5 feet from the strip. It's just so loud. You know, I'm talking about like the airport people movers type stuff. But yeah, remember going into Caesars, you had them long people movers going into the Forum shops. You know, you had the people movers at the Bellagio on that upper walkway. They're gone. You know, that upper walkway there outside Bellagio, in between Bellagio and Cosmo. At one point, they were talking about tearing that down and making that like a shopping district. Now, that has since, they've changed their mind on that. So that's a good thing. Danny, me and Jay, we're like 50. We don't really do the nightclubs and stuff anymore. We're day clubs and things like that. What I really miss is like the lounge acts that Vegas used to have all over the place. Now Harrah's, which I think is another overrated casino resort, again, great if you're looking to stay somewhere budget. It does its job until you try to eat in the food court or eat at one of the restaurants in there, because they're all pretty pricey restaurants. And the food court, again, Fulton Street food court, is pretty expensive. I think it's gonna cost you around $18 to $20 for a bagel and a coffee. You can get a bagel and a coffee at New York for around like 10, 11 bucks. So, you know, MGM, some of the MGM properties do have a little bit better value when it comes to that. Now, especially the ones at the south end of the strip. Now, if I were staying out here and I was looking for a budget property, I would probably stay South Strip. I would probably do Luxor, to tell you the truth, because I actually love the Luxor. A couple years ago, we stayed there. We got the old pyramid rooms, and Jay and the kids didn't really like it, but I loved it. It reminded me of back in the day when that was like the hotel to get a room at, you know what I mean? Yeah, drunk drivers are part of the reason for the high cost of insurance, but a bigger part of the reason, when I was talking to my insurance person, told me that it's the uninsured and underinsured, and the people that don't register their cars out here are one of the biggest reasons why insurance went so high, because so many people don't have insurance or not enough coverage. And the drunk drivers, obviously. And if you drive 15 and stuff, man, you see people, man, slow down a little bit. That's the crazy thing out here, man. It's like, I know, like back where in Philly, if your car wasn't registered and you got pulled over, your registration wasn't valid, or your insurance had lapsed, even by a day, they towed your car and put it in the impound lot until, you know, you went and got it and went and got it insured or got the registration fixed. Like out here, it's like they don't even pull people over. They see no license plate, they don't pull anyone over. And it sucks for us people that, you know, register our cars and all that stuff. Here comes Cartzilla. I actually love Mandalay, and you know what? It's not that bad. If you take the trams, the indoor walkways and stuff, you can actually get you can get up the strip in like really like not. It doesn't take too long. You can walk from Mandalay Bay to Bellagio Conservatory in about 35 minutes. I have a video that shows the route that I took. It really wasn't that bad of a walk, and it was mostly indoors. So Mandalay, now, I don't know if some people agree with me, some people don't agree with me. Mandalay, for some reason, when I go in Mandalay, I get Mirage type vibes in that place. You know, I don't know if it's like because it was similar type of theme, you know, like kind of that tropical theme that, you know, Mirage kind of went with. You know, I don't know, but when I go in there, I just kind of feel like it reminds me of the Mirage a little bit. It's always been one of my favorite spots too, like Mandalay when it first opened up. I remember that. That was like super luxurious. What's the best show to see without breaking the bank? So if you go to like Planet Hollywood, they have some decent shows. We saw WOW over at Rio one time. It's like a Cirque du Soleil type show. It was okay. You know, if you've ever seen a Cirque du Soleil show, then you're a little bit disappointed, but production-wise, mostly, acrobatics-wise, the performers were great. Let's see, the last show we love Carrot Top. If you're love comedians, if you're into comedians, we love Carrot Top. But if you're easily offended, Carrot Top is probably not the comedian for you to go see. We've done the Neil Diamond show. That's over now. It was at Oyo, but now it's at not Tusk, Alexa Park. That's actually a really good show, and that was dirt cheap if you're a Neil Diamond fan. Now there's a new show at Treasure Island that I want to check out. It's like a variety type show. I mean, any of the variety shows, I like the variety shows because they're kind of cheesy, old Vegas kind of shows, you know what I mean? Not these hyped up productions. Cirque du Soleil, as great of a show as they are, the old variety shows are kind of, you know what I mean? Give me that old school Vegas type of feel. Yeah, I think it's a little different watching Cirque du Soleil on YouTube than actually seeing it in person. Now, I've always been like one of those people. We saw Love at the Mirage 2 times, and the one time we saw it, we were like the second row or first row from the stage. Really cool seats. But you had to turn around for a lot of the show. So I was like kind of more like, well, you know what? When you're sitting a little bit further back and you can see the whole stage, I kind of thought that was a little bit of a better view. But this looks pretty cool with the Harrah's neon purple lights bouncing off over here. So they're almost got all the glass installed. We'll have to check this out, you know. Let's see, who do we got at Sphere right now? We got I don't really do Fremont that much to really hang out like at happy hours and stuff like that. Fremont's kind of like my my strip that a lot of locals only go to the strip when family and friends are in town. That's pretty much when I go to Fremont Street. But I mean, happy hours on the strip. We really like Beauty and Exodus at Cosmo. They have a great happy hour. They got great food. That's like one of our favorite spots to kind of hang out. I don't want to go because I'm not sure when the light's going to turn or not.
Like instantly and continually awarding carded players with player payback replay credits. Earn $20.
12 to 6, that's a nice long happy hour.
And $20 for every
Flights has a good happy hour too. That's like all day long inside Miracle Mile. And their happy hour drink specials change like every hour. So 1 hour it may be margaritas, the next hour it'll be something else, which I think is a pretty cool concept for happy hours. I'll let you guys know. So we went to Peppermill tonight too. Their happy hour was pretty good. You know, they had a basic small plates. I got sliders, mozzarella sticks. They had a bunch of good drink specials. Peppermill in the lounge area, it was a really cool vibe too. So that was fun. Then we went back and to the room and kind of just crashed out for a couple hours. Well, you gotta time it just right, you know. If there's cars coming, you gotta make sure. You also gotta make sure that you don't see no cops around, because they will give you a fucking ticket. Because I almost got one. Like when we first, when COVID was going on, it was like and like the cop was like, I was crossing up around in my neighborhood. I was crossing one of the main roads up there. And the cop saw me, pulled into the parking lot by the 7-Eleven I walked in, and was like, called me over, was like, I could give you a ticket for jaywalking, this, that. I'm like, dude, you're like the first car I've seen all day. And he was cool about it, but it's a big problem out here, especially like in the residential areas, man. Pedestrians are always getting hit because there's, it's a quarter mile between crosswalks, like when you get off the strip even, and people are like, man, I'm not walking all the way to the corner. I'm just going to cross halfway there. And a lot of people, unfortunately, get hit by cars. Danny, I really enjoy walking. I love walking. Coming from a city, Philadelphia, which is a highly walkable city, there was a good period of time where, me and Jay only had one car because I would either take public transportation or ride my bicycle everywhere. Out here in Vegas, it's not as highly walkable, and riding a bicycle is insane on the roads out here. So, yeah, the in and out at the boulevard is open. It's been open for a month or 2 months now. So we lived in Vegas in 1997. Jay went to UNLV for a couple semesters. And then I worked on the Strip. My first job in Vegas was at the Boardwalk Casino. If anyone remembers the Boardwalk Casino, Danny, the Boardwalk Casino used to be where the Veer Towers and Aria are. I was a dishwasher at their coffee shop there for about a month. And then I got a job off strip in banquets. And I made actually pretty good money doing banquets. And so we were out here for a while, and then Jay wanted to finish college back in Philadelphia. And so we moved back to Philadelphia, and we were just going to move. She was going to finish college, and then we were going to move back. But then I ended up getting into an apprenticeship program, and I had to do my 4-year apprenticeship program. And by the time that was over, we were having kids and married, and just kind of, the economy never allowed us to get back out here, because every time we were going to move, it was like 2008, we were thinking about moving back. And it was like, well, you know what happened in 2008, 2012, you know. And then finally, I guess around December of 2019, we decided we were going to move, sold our house in Philadelphia in February, March of 2020, and then COVID hit. And we kind of decided that we were still moving, even though all my job interviews and our mortgage pre-approval got, you know, everything got pulled away. But we were able to find someone who was selling their house, that owned their house outright, and did an owner will carry mortgage for us. We moved out here, and then luckily we moved out here in June of 2020. July of 2020, I got a job with a small concrete outfit. I was doing concrete work, and did that for a while. And then I started doing safety inspections on the housing projects out here that like KB builders and stuff were doing. I got a job as a safety person there. And then I got a job, I was there for a couple months, and then I got a job on the Strip once the hotels started opening back up. I was lucky enough to get a job up here on the Strip, and I've been working up here since. The boardwalk, the best thing about the boardwalk was the hobo stew. Remember the hobo stew that came in that sourdough bread bowl? I love that, man. That was like my favorite thing. But yeah, so and then like during our living back in Philadelphia from 99 all the way, like we would come out here. Before we had kids, we would come out here, you know, 5 times a year. And, you know, when we started having kids, we took a couple years off until our youngest was old enough. And by old enough, I mean like 3 or 4. So, and then we started coming back out here again. So since like 1997, there's probably only been about like 4 years or so, 5 years that we didn't spend a good amount of time in Vegas. So, you know, we just always wanted to get back. We loved it. Like Jay came out here, her aunt and uncle were professional gamblers. So, you know, she came out here with her family when she was like around like 12 or 13 and fell in love with the city. And then when we started dating, we met when we were 18. We're 50 now. When we met, she was like, one day I want to live in Vegas. And I was like, cool, sounds fun. You know, so we moved out here when we turned 21. And well, right before we turned 21, I guess we were about 20 when we moved out here. And she went to UNLV for a while. Well, yeah, you know, there's a saying, you know, you really don't regret things that you do, right? Sometimes you feel bad about things that you do and things like that, but like, you do end up regretting things that you don't do. right? Because you're never going to get that opportunity again. And I think in 2020, we decided, like, you know what, this may be it, right? This might be the last time that we can really move out there and enjoy ourselves. Yeah, sure, we can retire out there, but, you know, we wanted to spend some good years out here. And, you know, I had left a great job in 2017 because I was burning out. And I got another really good job with the city of Philadelphia. But about 3 years into it, I was starting to burn out from that, right? I worked for the Transit Authority. And if you know anything about Philadelphia, the subway systems and the elevated, the L train, they call it, there's a lot of like homelessness, crime, and drugs along those transportation lines, especially the L. And that runs straight through Kensington, which is like the heroin capital of the world. And I lost a brother to opiates, and being around it all the time and seeing these young kids, it was really starting to take a toll on me mentally. And, you know, I was trying to transfer over to the suburban side to get away from the city side, but I wasn't able really to do that. And then I was just like, you know what, let's just see. And Jay and her friend had went out to brunch one Sunday, and her friend had sold a vacant plot of land that she bought from the city next to her house when she moved in. And she sold it to a developer for a decent amount of money and was like, this guy's like always looking for properties. Why don't you call him and see if he's interested in, you know, maybe your house or something. So that's what we did. We called, and this guy came over. I remember it was like a cold, like January, February morning. And he looked around the outside of my house, was like, hey, can I see the backyard? I showed him the backyard. And he was like, all right, I've seen enough. I'll send you an offer tonight or tomorrow morning. And I was like, all right. I'm thinking this dude was gonna lowball me. And I had a number set in my head that if I get this number, I'm out of here. And he was really damn close to that number. And I asked him to come up a little bit, and he couldn't come all the way up to the number. So I went down a little bit because he was so close. And I was like, man, I don't want to say no and blow this opportunity. So I said, yeah, we agreed to the price, and the rest is history now. You know what? You can get a good job anywhere, man. It may not be, you know, I had a great job. Listen, the job I had in Philadelphia with the Transportation Authority, it was a great job. It was great money. I had a ton of time off, right? I had a really good pension, a really good like 401k. I had a pension and a 401k, you know? I had sick time. I was like, you know, I started with like 2 weeks vacation and like 10 days of personal time, you know? So I had like a month off in my first year. Great benefits, all that stuff, right? But, you know, so much better than the benefits and stuff that I have out here, to be honest. But you know what? Like, sometimes you just got to say, you know, is my happiness, is my mental health and happiness more important than this job or, you know, whatever it is that's holding you back? You really have to sit down and take that stock and say, you know what? When I'm laying in my final days, am I gonna remember the great job I had, or am I gonna remember that, you know, I took a chance and bet on myself and moved to Vegas, moved to Hawaii, Miami, wherever it is that your dream to live. I took a chance, I bet on myself, and I moved there, and I lived the best life that I could live, right? And I'm happy, and I'm this and that, right? Or you're gonna be laying there going, man, I really wish I would have moved to Miami. Or, you know, that's what people, you know, too many people. I understand the economic stability of good jobs and things like that and going into the unknown. But I'm not saying throw caution to the wind, just drop everything and move to that place. But, you know, prior to COVID, in March, we were going to be coming out here in April. I had like 6 job interviews lined up for a week. I had 6 different job interviews lined up, and we had like 7 or 8 houses that we were going to look at. So we had kind of planned it all out, and then COVID just shut everything down, and we just said, screw it, we're still doing it. And we found a way to do it, you know? So, not tonight. The new In-N-Out is about 2 miles that way. So I've got some videos about the new In-N-Out if you check our page, but I'll probably be down that way tomorrow at some point. I'll probably go live once or twice tomorrow because we're doing a staycation up here. So we're staying at Fontainebleau, and I tell you what, I love the vibe in Fontainebleau. It is, it's got a nice crowd in there. It smells awesome in there. The scent in there is awesome. Our room is amazing. It's like, you know, push button lights, push button drapes, you know, huge bathtub, nice sized shower, you know, a nice view facing kind of northwest. So we got a view of the Strat and the mountains, which, believe it or not, like, I would prefer to have a view of the mountains than a view of the Strip when I'm staying at hotels out here. So I'm never disappointed when I just like to be on a higher floor. That's all. Like when we stayed at the Polo Towers, they were like, do you want like a Strip view? Or I was like, actually, can I get an east facing view? And they were like, kind of like, wow, most people don't ever ask for that. So there's Resorts World across the street. That's the second newest. That opened a few months before Fontainebleau. That opened in June of 21, I think. And Fontainebleau opened, was it like November of 21 or something like that? I forget. Yeah, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the notification button so you get notified when we go live or post some new videos. Go check out our videos. I do a lot of videos that like show you how to walk around Vegas. They're not like commercials. They're not like very highly edited with like, you know, all the bells and whistles. It's more of like, hey, you want to get here? Let me show you how to get here, right? Because I do all the editing and all that stuff myself, and you know, I'm just learning how to do all this stuff on social media. We only been doing social media for about 2.5 years now. We started on TikTok and kind of by accident started live streaming and taking social media serious because we started live streaming when the Mirage was shutting down. And the Mirage volcano was such a huge part of our lives. Like I said, when we lived here in '97, my wife, she worked at GameStop on the Strip, down where the Ross is, down by New York. And we lived at the Apple Apartments on Twain and Swenson. And I used to walk up here every night. So I would walk right down Twain, right past Wynn, and Encore wasn't here. DI and Sands were over there where the Venetian and Palazzo was. So Venetian and Palazzo weren't even there. I think they were just starting to get built, maybe. But I used to walk down that road every single night to come meet her. She worked usually until midnight or 2 a.m. And it was a nice walk, but I would stop every night and watch the Volcano, pirate show, Volcano, and just walk down and just kind of take a nice stroll in the strip. So when I see like all the changes that Vegas has gone through in the, over the past 30 years or so, it's like, you know, I remember when the Cosmo was a parking lot. I remember when the fountains, Lake Bellagio, was still just like a dirt hole, you know? So, you know, I get the old school nostalgia that so many people have about Vegas, but I also appreciate how Vegas can reinvent itself when it needs to reinvent itself. And it goes through growing pains. And I think we're seeing some growing pains now, you know, with it trying to transfer from being like a gambling mecca to a sports and entertainment mecca with gambling, you know? And I think that's what Vegas is turning into. I'm not sure who you're talking about, Pono. I'll have to look and see who got the lifetime ban. You know, I hear that a lot of places are starting to crack down now on live streaming and just content creation in general in the casinos. And, you know, I do see a lot of streamers and content creators that get in arguments with security when they're in these places. And it's like, dude, if they tell you to stop filming, just stop filming. You're on private property. It's not worth getting trespassed for a clip. You know, if, you know, you can have a conversation with them and all that stuff, but sometimes they just think like, I can do what I want. And it's like, no, you're on private property. Once you walk through them doors and you leave the sidewalk, you're on private property. And they have every right to tell you to stop filming. And if you don't want to stop filming, they have every right to kick you out, ban you. And I'm going to tell you, if you get banned in one MGM property, they're probably going to ban you from all of them. Now that goes half the strip. You know what I mean? And then they're probably going to notify Caesars, and Caesars is going to start putting you into their facial recognition cameras. And when you go in there to try to do content, they're probably going to come over and do the same thing. You know what I mean? So to me, it's just not worth it. And it's we've only had an issue once or twice inside somewhere where we were able to hash it out with the security and continue on our way. Yeah, the streaming is popping off, but see, here's the problem. A lot of customers don't want to be on a live stream. And I'm usually very, very respectful when I'm walking through a casino. I stay on the paths. I try not to show people at games. You know, I try not to show the table games. I try to give a general idea of what's going on, pan the crowd real quick, but there's people that actually walk around and, you know, people feel like some people, they just don't want to be on camera in general, even though they're on a casino camera 24/7. But, you know, you gotta watch that stuff, you know, and that's the thing. So, you know, they're worried about collusion, right? They're worried about someone live streaming while they're walking past some games. things like that. You know what I mean? That's one of the reasons that they try to keep a lid on the streaming and stuff. But I mean, I get it. But I'm gonna run into Walgreens. I'm gonna end that live here, I think, and just kind of run into Walgreens. I gotta pick up some stuff. So I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna flip the camera around. I probably look like crap right now. But so I'm gonna be out tomorrow, afternoon, evening, maybe late night. I don't know what exactly our plans are for tomorrow. We're gonna be at Fontainebleau until Wednesday. So that'll be fun. But thank you all for joining us tonight. And I will see you guys all tomorrow. You guys have a great night. Murakami, thanks a lot. Everyone, thank you for joining. Thanks for subscribing. Hope you guys have a great night.